Hear me? Joe, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. We're just going to wait 1 or 2 more minutes. For at least one more person. Let's pray for one more person to get in there. Make it 12. If he doesn't, is Evan in? He's one. Is Saray in? Maybe I could just get Saray to jump on for that 12th person. Okay, well, some other people will be coming on. So if you could hear me, is anybody out there? All right, so my name is Eric, and Joe is in the Joe box, Joe Landon, and it's a great wall you got behind you, Joe. So I just want to make sure I have the ability to share my screen. I do not. I will have that ability momentarily, I'm sure. And you just, Christina, let me know either verbally or just in the chat box when I'm able to share my screen. Hey, Joe, just text Christina. I don't know if she's at the computer. I would imagine, yeah, letting people in. Still waiting, Joe, to be able to share my screen. Once we get the ability for me to share my screen, we will kick this thing off. I was going to talk a little bit for a few minutes and then go over ground rules, but it's a good time to go over ground rules now. So I really appreciate everybody showing up. Those of you who have showed up on this call, it will be rebroadcasted later on the coaching page. But it's always best to be live because at some point it'll be interactive, and we'll get into questions and other things like that. One of the things that we ask is that you come on camera. You know, I understand that some people may be in an absolute, situation where they can't. Thank you, Fiona. Nice to see you. Come on camera, mute yourself until either you're asked to unmute or, you're directed immediately. I'll come on in a minute. No problem, Maria. Can I share my screen? Can't share my screen. Christina, if you're there, Joe, if you could reach out to Christina, make me a co-host so I can share my screen. Otherwise, they're just looking at this ugly face, and we're going to lose people. We're going to lose people. We're losing them. Oh, you're shaking your head up and down, Pedro? That was me to be self-effacing so that you would say, oh, come on, you're a handsome guy. That was a reverse psychology, a takeaway close or whatever you want to call it. I can sing. How about if I sing? Yeah. So anyway, so that's the house. For the house rules, we're going to ask you to get on screen, get on camera. And like Mike McNamara, if you're in the witness protection program, that works too. As long as I see at the very least a silhouette, knowing that there's a human being at the other end. And I like, it makes me feel more, there's more energy. I'm being serious. There's more energy when I see your face, when I see, that you're actually there. So I will ask you to do that. All right. So for sale by owners. Why are we doing a for sale by owner course? The for sale by owner course is, quite frankly, one of the easiest, or the for sale by owner is one of the easiest leads to go after. And when I say easiest, I'll put them in the category of easiest lead that has raised their hand who wants to sell. And so that's the reason we're going over for sale by owners. Um, so that's why we're going after for sale by owners. I'm just killing time. I'm trying to share my screen. I can't share my screen. So, there's things that I want to talk about that there's some visuals to, and I can't get that done. Give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. Sorry about this. Talk amongst yourselves. We'll be with you in a minute. I apologize for the delay. All right, we're in business. Sorry about that, guys. Why for sale by owners, right? So this is, in short, the reality on for sale by owners. I was going to block out the source, but then I felt it might be a little silly that I'm showing stats without letting you guys know who the sources of the statistic. And what they're saying here is selling your home makes dozens, if not hundreds of thousands of decisions. Starting, I'm going to get to the statistics. 36% of sellers attempt to sell their homes themselves. Sounds like a high number. Challenges along the way lead many of them to eventually hire an agent. In the end, only 11% end up selling their home themselves. That's why we're talking about for sale by owners. Of the for sale by owners who do actually sell, they're saying here that 34% already knew their potential buyer. So it's usually something where the buyer is already in hand. And that's not really a for sale by owner in the sense of marketing the home and making sure that they, get good results. It's a neighbor, a family friend, one or the other that actually lets them successfully sell their home themselves. So, the statistics.
That's what we were just watching over there.
92%. Can you everyone mute themselves? The statistic is 92% of the people who list their home actually hire an agent. Now, Zillow is saying 89%. I like those odds. Okay. Over here. And there we go. Okay. So the for sale by owner is a really good lead source based on that statistic. They want to sell. They are motivated to sell, and it's usually because they want to save the commission. We're gonna show you examples on how that's just not a reality. They don't save the commission. If you're just coming on, there are a few people who just came on more recently. If it's possible, we'd love you to be on camera. It gives more energy to the room. Okay. All right. So, the stats on the for sale by owners we just shared. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood why we go after for sale by owners. They're very, very good leads. Has anyone, I just want to ask, has anyone in this class, has anyone ever called the for sale by owner?
Yeah, I did.
Has anyone gotten into the home to do a walkthrough? Those of you who have not gotten in the home to do a walkthrough, did you ask to come look at the property?
No.
No. Okay. Maria has, Nancy hasn't. So we don't know, if we don't ask, whether we could have gotten in or not. Okay, good.
How do you compete if they tell you that they've had 60 agents who have already called and have their business cards with them and all of that?
Yeah. Well, that's something we're going to go over when we go over scripting. So
Okay.
we're definitely going to tackle that in the later part of this class. It's definitely doable. It's just a matter of having the right dialogue, the right scripting, and knowing how to say it right, in order to get them to flip and want to go with you. So I want to show you a couple case studies. The first case study that I'm going to show you is a property in Montville. This is the property when we saw this listing, 14 Franklin Court. It was a for sale by owner. This is what a lot of for sale by owners look like. Not all for sale by owners. Some for sale by owners actually hire a photographer. I've seen a couple recently where they're going headlong into this thing, and they're actually hiring photographers, and God bless them, they're doing the right thing. But this is what a lot of for sale by owners look like. If you look closely, one of the pictures is sideways. Oh, I can't show you that, but it's right there, sideways. Not much different than some agents, but that's what it looked like. This is what it looked like when we took it. And here's the situation. This for sale by owner tried listing, I got no scrolling ability. This for sale by owner, if you look at the bottom of the screen, he tried listing it at 435 in July. He listed it for 4 months, July, August, all of July, August, September, October. 4 months at 435. Couldn't sell it. We came in and we listed it in November at 398. And it was removed within 20 days. So look down, we listed it in November 20th. And when we say removed, that really means it went under contract. It went under contract within 20 days, within 3 weeks. And if anyone knows, if you don't know, our process when we list the properties, the first 7, 8, 9 days, you don't even get into it. So while it was on the market November 20th, people probably weren't able to get in until the 27th, 28th. So it really had less than 2 weeks on the market. And the close is up here. It closed January 30th for 425. And, again, when you look at that, the guy was trying to sell it for 10,000 more. I'm pretty certain he would have taken 425 had he found the buyer, but he couldn't find the buyer. It's a really good example. I'm going to give you one more. This is a more recent one. That was a few years ago. Here's a more recent one. This one just closed, so much so recent that it doesn't even show up yet on Zillow. But Evan already has, you can't see my thing, his check. So it works. And here's the deal. This is a very interesting one. This guy listed for 270 as a for sale by owner. And if I'm not mistaken, he did that for 2 months, give or take. Evan, if you're on, you can unmute yourself and just chime in. Is it 2 months that he was on for sale by owner?
He was a for sale by owner for only about a month, 1 month.
Okay, so he tried it for a month. Now, you would think, make the screen bigger for a second. You would think that it's a really hot market. Drunk monkey, when I have the drunk monkey in my head, I'm saying to myself, really hot market. These for sale by owners could just put a sign on the lawn and they should be sold in a day. And they should. But it doesn't work that way. So this guy was on the market for a month, for sale by owner. He then gets a call from Evan. Evan runs the for sale by owner script on him, and he responds favorably. We then list the home, and if you notice here, we don't list the home for cheaper, and we don't list the home for more to make up our commission. You know, some for sale owners will tell you, listen, I'm at 270, and I'm not going to believe beneath 265. If you want to list a home, you get me 265, and anything you get over that, you can have. And then a lot of agents will take a for sale by owner instead of 270 or the right price, whatever that right price is, they'll take the for sale by owner at 295. And that agent's just looking for leads and hoping that it might sell. We listed the home virtually for the same price. I think it's $1,120 less. Evan, what did that house close for?
302,
What did it sell for?
310.
Right. So we listed the for sale by owner at the same price that the for sale by owner had his listing. It sold for 310 in how many days?
The first weekend. So
First weekend, multiple offers. It sold at 302. It closed at 302 because of the appraisal. It's what I like to call a luxury problem to get 40,000 over your asking price, 40,000 over the FSBO's expectation. He only cared for 270. I can tell you that it's good to have multiple offers. It's even better when they, sell for 30 or 40,000 over the asking price. And unfortunately, the appraisal didn't come in, so we had to take a little bit of a haircut on the deal. The seller did, that is, and it closed at 302. But 302 is still 32,000 over what the guy was trying to get. So there's a validity in going after for sale by owners. I mean, I just wanted to bring that to the table and say, hey, look, this is a really good model, and it absolutely makes sense to go after for sale by owners. Anyone have any questions right now? Let me just throw that out there real fast before we move forward. Okay. I'm going to share my sound. I'm going to optimize for video. I'm going to share my screen again. Talking to myself. Has anyone seen this video yet? Okay. So those of you who've seen the video, it's a good time for a bathroom break. It's an 8-minute video. Don't leave anywhere if you don't want to. repetition is the mother of skill. So watching it again, we're going to discuss this video. It's an 8-minute video. Don't go anywhere. You'll miss it. I want to press play. There it is.
Keller Williams up in Detroit, and I'm going to do the for sale by
Can you hear
owner
it?
first call today. I'm going to take you through step-by-step
Can you hear him? Okay, good.
exactly what we say to for sale by owners. And while I'm going through the script, I'm going to share with you the reasons why we say what we say, give you some additional thoughts and pointers on things that you can do to help your initial call with for sale by owners. Now, first thing, a couple things I want to mention to you about for sale by owners. Our mindset when we see a for sale by owner is that this is somebody that is going to hire an agent. They just don't know who, and they just don't know when. Okay, so whenever we see a for sale by owner sign in a yard or a lead that comes through, we know that that's somebody that's going to hire an agent. We just don't know who they're going to hire, and we don't know when they're going to hire an agent. So our goal when we're calling a for sale by owner is to be in the right place at the right time. Okay, so how do you plan on being in the right place at the right time? You can't. Well, you can, you just don't know exactly when. And how do we determine that? Well, we are the agents that follow up the most. So the number one key success with for sale by owners is in the follow-up. Because unlike an expired listing or somebody who's ready to do something right now, one thing we know about for sale by owners is that they usually require a lot of follow-up before they're actually ready. And we know that most for sale by owners end up listing their home somewhere between week 3 and week 5. So if I can be the one agent that's there at the right moment, when's the best time to call for sale by owners? Mondays. Without question, Mondays are the best time to call for sale by owners. Why is that? Well, they just had a weekend of showings or lack thereof, and an open house with buyers or lack thereof. And in most cases, as you know, because there's no advertising and there's no promotion and there's no MLS, they're not getting a lot of people through. So I'm calling a for sale by owner on a Monday to follow up and see how their activity was this weekend. So let me take you through my script when I call. Hi, my name is Jeff Glover with Keller Williams, and I'm calling about your home for sale. Is this the owner? Obviously, I want to talk to the owner. Now, I'm calling the for sale by owners in the area, and the reason for that is because we know that most for sale by owners, if they can't sell it on their own, will hire an agent. And I was wondering, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own? And usually they'll say, well, you know, obviously we plan on selling it on our own. You know, sometimes they'll be a little cocky or a little arrogant, and they'll feel, well, you know, no, we're going to do this. We don't need an agent. Totally understand, and I can appreciate that. And since most for sale by owners do give it 2 or 3 weeks or 4 weeks before they hire an agent, how long do you plan on trying it on your own before hiring an agent? Well, and again, they still may be a little tough with you, a little defensive on that, and they may say, well, we plan on, you know, selling it on our own and as long as it takes, right? Well, I want to get an answer out of them because I know that that's not the case. I know that if they can't sell it in 2 or 3 weeks, I know they're going to be calling an agent. They're just not going to tell me that. They're giving me reflex no's. They're telling me things to kind of get me off script. They're telling me things to distract me from the conversation. So I'll usually pivot from that type of a conversation, and I'll just say, okay, totally understand. You're pretty confident you're going to sell it on your own, and I hope you do, right? I'm not concerned that they're not going to list with me. I'm not concerned that they're not going to call me. I'm just good with it. I'm just agreeing with them. Fine, I believe you probably can sell it on your own. When you do, where are you moving to? Right there, I'm doing what's called a pivot, and I'm taking them off of the conversation of selling their home and talking about where they're going. Because if I can get them excited about where they're going, then I can probably take them down a different path with a different set of questions to get an appointment to get in front of them. So I may say something like, well, okay, no problem. Once you sell on your own, where are you going to move to? Oh, we plan on moving south. Oh, that's great. You already have a place there. You know, I'm asking them as many questions as I can, as many questions as they'll let me about where they're going. And the reason for that is because that's really why they're moving. See, people don't list their homes to make money off of them. And in most cases, we know for sale by owners are selling because they want to save the commission, but we don't attach that meaning to it. Because yes, they'd like the savings, but ultimately they're moving to get to another destination. They're moving to fix a problem. They're moving to accomplish something else, upsize, downsize, save money on their monthly payments to, you know, they've got a growing family. There's all sorts of reasons why people move. And if I can get them excited about why they're moving, then the conversation, when I redirect them back to the for sale by owner script, becomes that much easier. So I may say, okay, you've been on the market now for a few weeks after we're done talking about where they're going. What's your activity been like? How many showings? How many offers? What kind of feedback are you getting from clients? And they'll usually respond with, oh, we've had some people through, and no, we haven't had any offers yet. And I'm just kind of having a little Q&A session with them about what their experience has been thus far. And if you follow the for sale by owner script, then it goes into, okay, why did you decide to sell yourself rather than list with a real estate agent? Because I want to know, because they may have a specific reason other than save the commission. And if that's the case, I want to know that. Although we know that 9 out of 10 are usually going to say, well, I didn't want to pay you a commission. Well, ultimately, I'm going to take that type of a conversation or that type of an answer to a question into this next step. And that is, so let me ask you a question. If we have a buyer for your property, are you cooperating with real estate agents? Are you working with buyer's agents who bring buyers? Yeah, we sure are. Okay, great. So you've already committed to pay the 3% buyer's agent fee then, is that right? Well, yeah, we're negotiable on that, but for the most part, most of them say they will. Sometimes they say, oh, we're only paying 2 or whatever it is they say. So great. So really all we're talking about is saving you the other 3% then, right? Okay, now you're creating somewhat of another side of what they're actually saving, because they think by not listing with an agent, they're saving all this money, when really they're not saving that much money. Not only are they probably going to have to pay a buyer's agent, but also when they sell it on their own, if you look at the NAR stat, okay, the NAR stat says that a for sale by owner averages 88% of the asking price. 88%. Mr. and Mrs. For sale by owner, did you know that so far this year, we've averaged our sellers 98% of their asking price? So you have for sale by owners averaging 88, and we're averaging 98. And oh, by the way, it's only going to cost you 3% more to use us. So your net gain is like another 6 or 7% by working with us versus selling it on your own. See, most for sale by owners don't even know that. And of course, when you give stats like that, it creates a little bit of curiosity. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to get the appointment right on the spot. But if it goes down the conversation of saving on the commission, I may also say something to the effect of, okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to gladly pay an agent 3% to bring a buyer, and you're not interested in having representation. And that agent that's bringing the buyer, you're paying them 3% to negotiate against you? Is that true? Well, what do you mean by that? Well, when that buyer comes in and shows your house, they represent who? You or the buyer? Well, they represent the buyer. Great. So if they're representing the buyer and you're paying them 3%, in essence, you're paying them 3% to negotiate against you. How do you plan on netting more from the sale of your home by working with an agent who's working for the buyer? It just doesn't make sense, does it? So at that point in time, obviously once I've kind of piqued their curiosity, I'll go into this next step. You know what, I tell you what, why don't we do this? This is my close. Why don't we do this? I know you plan on selling it on your own for a while, and you probably will sell it on your own, and I hope you do. I'd like to do 2 things. Number 1, I'd like to come take a look at your home. Since you said you're working with buyer's agents, I'd like to take a look at your home and see if it would be perfect for one of our buyers. At the same time, while I'm there, I'd like to share with you exactly what we're doing to net our sellers 98% of their asking price in an average of 23 days. Now, since I'll already be at the home, it'll only take me 15 minutes to walk you through that, and I won't ask you to sign a contract unless you want to. But at that point in time, you'll know that if you can't sell it on your own, which I hope you do, but if you can't sell it on your own, you'll know exactly what we're doing to sell homes. Fair enough? And then I close for the appointment. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Jeff Glover with Keller Williams up in Detroit. Bye-bye.
When school isn't a place you have to be,
All right.
why not go to school where remote learning can be as remote as you want? Like a verb.
We're getting rid of this. All right. So, so the for sale. Where'd you guys go? So the for sale by owner is a very simple script. Most of you already have it in the for sale by owner script books, or the actual script books that Joe shared. He actually also put it into the chat. So if you look at the chat, if you don't have it at your fingertips, you could always download it in the chat. And that's really what we're going to look at now. We're going to look at the scripting. Well, we're actually going to look at one more slide, and then we're going to look at the scripting, and we're going to go through that and answer any questions you might have on that. So let me get rid of this. Let me go over here. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So this may be a little small, and I'm going to enlarge. I'm going to zoom in, hopefully without any issues when we get to the actual thing. But this is the life cycle of a for sale by owner. The for sale by owner is a follow-up game. That's it. I was teaching a class 3 years ago, and somewhere in that 3 to 4 range, and it was handful of agents, most of them new, in another market center. And I said, hey, how many people have ever called? I think I did that just now. How many people called for sale by owners? And 2 or 3 people put up their hand. I said, and what were the results? And one of the agents, she said, I listed them and sold it. And she didn't sound like she was experienced. I asked her how long you've been in the business. She said about 2 months. And so it must have been their first week in the business that she actually called. For sale by owners list their homes. They're a very easy lead source to go after. She happened to get them at the right point in time. I don't think she had to follow up more than a week or two. So what this basically shows us is that the for sale by owner, give me 1 second. Oh, yeah, that's how I do it. So the for sale by owner, he says anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. It could be 8 weeks. It could be 10 weeks. There's the outliers who say I'm going to do it for 3 months. But I can tell you, Evan, I don't know. Are you still on the call? I know Evan's doing other things too. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you run that script, right, and the script is, hey, Evan, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
Yes.
Hey, I'm calling all the for sale by owners in my market because we know that most for sale by owners, if they can't sell it on their own, will hire an agent. Just curious, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own?
Yeah, we're pretty confident we're going to sell it ourselves.
Good, absolutely, yeah, you're confident. And look, you probably will, and I hope you do. And since most for sale by owners do give it between 4 to 6 weeks, how long do you think you'll try it on your own before you'll hire an agent?
Another 3 weeks.
Oh, that's the answer. It's amazing. When I first started calling for sale by owners, I was blown away that for the previous 10 years of my career, I was vehemently against calling for sale by owners. I had all these valid reasons in my head why I shouldn't call for sale by owners. And the truth is, for sale by owners list. And when you ask that question, Evan, how many people out of 10 that you ask, when you then say, well, statistics shows that between 4 to 6, how many people actually answer, we'll just say correctly, meaning they give you a positive answer?
Can you just repeat the question? Sorry, just to make sure I understand.
Yeah, how many out of 10 people that you ask that question, that you say, hey, most for sale by owners give it between 4 to 6 weeks before they hire an agent, how long will you try before you hire an agent? How many people give you a favorable answer?
Right. So surprisingly, probably like 9 out of 10. Like, so for example, when I initially say, I'm calling for sale by owners in my market because we know that most for sale by owners, if they can't sell on their own, will hire an agent. And I was wondering, what are your plans if you can't sell on their own? That objection, whatever it is, usually is 9 out of 10 people will then actually tell you the duration before they'll hire a listing agent. Once you say the second question, say, since most for sale buyers do give it 3 to 4 weeks before they hire an agent, how long do you plan on selling it on your own before you hire an agent? Then the objection is gone, and they usually will say, another month or so. And originally they might have said, I'm not going to hire an agent. But then you say, since most for sale by owners give it 3 to 4 weeks before they hire an agent, let me ask you this: how long do you plan on selling yourself before you hire an agent? Then it might be like, another 2 to 4 weeks. And then all of a sudden that objection, they lied to you. But then you ask the second question, and then you'll understand the duration of how long they'll try to sell themselves before they hire an agent. And it's just amazing. I'd say 9 out of 10 people tell me the honest answer.
9 out of 10 people will answer favorably. And here's the thing to Evan, what Evan just said, they'll lie to you. If you hook them up to a lie detector test, I'd say 90% of the people believe what they're saying. I'm not hiring an agent. I call it drinking goggles. They're confident. They're bigger and more muscular, and because they're just not really clued in as to how things really work, and that's fine. Look, 8 to 12% actually sell it themselves, right? So they're and they don't know that statistic, but they're most people. The point of the question was very simple. People will tell you, yeah, I'll probably try another 5-6 weeks, another month, another 2 months. So it then becomes, as Jeff Glover said, it's a follow-up game. He didn't say it's a follow-up game. That's what I'm spinning the words and using it as a follow-up game. But they're going to hire an agent. They just don't know when, and they don't know who. Some will even tell you the objection that they already know their agent. Don't worry, we're not going to get into scripting right now. Week one. The for sale by owner puts his home on the market and is confident they're going to sell their home. 6 to 12, I'm just picking numbers. It could be 5, it could be 15. It's usually somewhere, you got to understand, as new agents and even more seasoned agents who don't do the calls, we are under the misconception or the myth understanding, as Gary Keller would say, is that they're getting bombarded by people. Truth is, 90%, 95%, 97% of agents don't pick up the phone and make calls. They don't do it. They don't want to do it. And that's not just in real estate. It's even higher in real estate, but most people just don't pick up the phone. So the competition isn't really that great. 6 to 12 agents will call them immediately. And they'll use various angles and lines and tactics to get in the house to get the listing. Most of the times, I hate to say this, most of the times it starts out with a lie. I have a buyers for your home. And they're, look, I've even told agents to, when you say, look, we have buyers, and when you're a brand new agent, you don't have buyers, you don't want to lie. You say, look, our markets, our office lists and sells over 100 homes every month. If we don't have a buyer today, there's a good chance we might have one tomorrow. But for this discussion, I make it very clear. I want to say I don't have a buyer right now. Okay. But anyway, they're gonna say everything in the book just to get in that house. You, on the other hand, being trained a different way, will make the initial contact. It's an exploratory call. Think of it as an exploratory call, because here's the deal. If you call them in week one, in the first week, hopefully you get them in the first week, the first day, the second day, the third day. We know they're not ready to list. Unless you stumble across the lottery ticket, which happens every once in a blue moon, they're not ready to list. So while all of the other agents are going for the juggler right out of the gate, you're more of a consultant than a sales shark. You make that initial contact with the mindset of exploratory, coming from curiosity and contribution. And if the seller is cooperating with agents, while you're not looking for the listing, you're going to go for the walkthrough. And just to kind of pause for a second, Pedro, is it hard to get a walkthrough?
Nope. It's pretty easy. I think one of the things that you got to do, like you're a master at being comfortable, speaking with complete strangers. You've been doing it for 18 years. That's your thing, man. You sound like a radio host. You got that comfortable sort of, air about you. Evan is getting that, as well. And he's refining, his own style, and he's phenomenal. And I think one of the things that you got to just do the things that make you the most uncomfortable. To some people, it's making those cold calls and speaking to complete strangers who are going to hang up on you, who are going to be rude to you, and all of that stuff. Evan is a master at not just letting that kind of like brush off his shoulder, and you got it. This is your business, and the sooner you start to take that real serious, you know, the more success you're going to have. And
Yeah.
once you get your first walkthrough, you know you can do it. And then it'll give you the confidence to just, I'm going to get my next one. I'm going to get my next one, you know, so.
Follow me on this track. Don't mute yourself yet. So how many walkthroughs have you been on in the last 8 weeks? Yeah, just
We've been averaging about 3, sometimes 4 a week.
okay, so that's my point. You can go back on mute. I'll call you back shortly. And so my point is this. It's week 1. Hopefully you've got them on week 1. If you include for sale by owners in your arsenal, in your repertoire, in your business plan, ideally you're checking them every day. And when you see a for sale by owner, you call it. Hopefully they went on the market yesterday. Drunk Monkey would tell me, they've been on the market a week. They're not ready to even talk to an agent. And I don't want to talk to them anyway because they got all these jerks calling them. And I don't want to be part of the jerks. You know, all this nonsense in my head. We make that initial call coming from contribution, coming from curiosity, in exploratory fashion. And as a consultant looking to help them. And, you know, if the seller's cooperating with agents, which you'll find out as you go through the script, we're going to go through the script here. As you go through the script, you'll find that 95% of them are cooperating with agents. Sure. How much are you willing to pay? 2%, 2.5%, 3%. I've had as much as 5%. Doesn't make sense why they're not just hiring an agent. So if they're cooperating with agents, if I know that it typically takes anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks, 4 to 8 weeks, whatever, let all the other agents go after the listing and talk and speak the language of someone who's going after the listing. I'm looking to find out how I can help. And if they're cooperating with agents, while I don't want to tell you, Mr. Seller, I have a buyer today. Look, my office, we're number 1 office in the area. We list and sell over 100 homes every month, 250 agents. It's all true. If I don't have a buyer today, there's a good chance I might have a buyer call me tomorrow or Saturday or Monday or next week. And when that buyer calls me, I'd like to know, not just see a few pictures. I'd like to know the flow of your house intimately so that I can say, wow, when I qualify that buyer, that immediately the bell goes off and says, wow, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson's home's over at 123 Apple Street. That home is perfect. I mean, you do want me to bring you a qualified buyer if I have one, correct? And of course, they'll say yes. So we're going in just for a walkthrough, and we'll talk about that in the script. Either way, if you know, there are people, I think Marie was one of the people who said no, she didn't get a walkthrough, and yes, she did ask. So there are people who are not yet in the first day, the first 3 days, the first week. They're still so confident that they don't even want to let you in their home. Partially, it's because they're getting calls from these people. All right. Good. I'm just checking my time, make sure I don't go off on these bunny trails. All right. I'm good. Just pound on that wall when I'm over. I've got 20 minutes for this slide. So week number 2, right? Let's just see where we're at. Week number 2. So what did I do in week number 1 or day number 1 or 3 or whatever it is? When I say week 1, it's the week that they've been on the market. I've called them. You're going to see the script. We're going to go over the script. I've gotten permission to follow up if I can't get in the home. And I'm going to attempt to get their email address because it's always better to have an extra form of contact that I can drip on them. And we'll talk about how we're going to get the email address. Week number 2. Seller is still confident. Poor exposure, not many showings, mostly agents calling. These are facts. Number of agents call, drop off. Now, when I say agents, mostly agents still calling. However, the number of agents that are calling them drops off by almost 50%. So if 15 agents called them in week one, more than half of those agents are off to the next shiny object. They don't have the stick-to-itiveness. They don't have the follow-up game. Can you play the follow-up game? So 50% drop off. Now your competition just went from 6 to 3 or 2, or 10 to 4 or 5. And they're still using language. Mr. Seller, why did you try to sell this sell it on your own? What way are you marketing it? Oh, okay. Well, and then they're saying, well, if I can get you a better job, they're saying these things that are not, they don't make sense to for sale by owners. It may be true. We know that the for sale by owner statistically will get 88% less than selling with an agent. But to say that to a for sale by owner before you've developed rapport, earned respect, you just sound like a whack job. When you call me and tell me you can get me more money even by paying me my full commission, I think you're crazy. However, you are going to put them into a smart plan. Week one, you've put them in the smart plan. So you put them in the smart plan. What's the smart plan? You're calling them every Monday, like Jeff Glover says. See how the weekend went. Hey, I just wanted to check in. How'd your weekend go? What's going to happen is a couple things. If they've had showings, most of the time, the buyer will be very nice and tell them they have a beautiful house. Some will even say, hey, you know what? We're going to call you. This is a really nice house. We're going to think about this. We're going to call you back. They might even ask buying signal, questions that signal a buying, a buy. But it's not going to happen. If it happens, it happens. It happens, 11, 12, 10, 8% of the time. Or they had an open house. And from that open house, some of the buyers, everyone's, oh, lovely house, beautiful house. So they're getting a lot of praise for their home, which leads them to believe that they're still hot, right? So they're still confident. However, Monday comes and goes, and all of a sudden, a couple people who said they might call them back, they haven't called them back yet. So there's a little bit, weakening of the strength there. So you're calling them every Monday. If you get their email, you're going to send a midweek market snapshot of the neighborhood. You don't even have to ask permission for that. If you were just to send a for sale by owner on a Wednesday, their market snapshot doesn't have to be, it could be manual if you don't have any automation. I think we have automation through command. But if you're sending that unsolicited snapshot of the actives under contracts and sold in the last 7 days, are you being a pesky realtor or are you bringing value? Then on Friday, you want to send a video message. And that video message could just be wishing them well. Hey, it's Friday. Looks like we're going to have a beautiful weekend. If you haven't already done so, you might want to mow the lawn, make sure there's no, rake or whatever. Make sure no neighbors' trashes is blown onto your property. Good luck this weekend. I hope you get a great turnout. That's it. That's it. Week number 2, right? They're not ready to list. I'm coming from contribution. I'm playing the follow-up game. Does that make sense so far? Okay. Week number 3. Week number 3. Whoa, that's big. Week number 3. Seller may or may not be growing concern, poor exposure, not many showings, mostly agents calling, number of agents dropped off by 90%. Everyone's pretty much gone away. But I have them on a smart plan. And don't get me wrong. There's 1 or 2 good agents who are still calling them just like we are. You have them on a smart plan. it's week 3. The first week, you call them. I failed to tell you, you probably sent them a thank you card. Thank you for speaking to me. Here's my business card. We do talk about this in the script, that there is a giveaway, a leave behind of value. And so this is week 3. You've had 6 to 9 various different ways you've been touching them throughout the weeks. Week number 3, you keep your follow-up game in place. In your Friday message, you send them pics. If you don't have them of your own, you could take mine. We certainly have enough references in our market center of long lines at our listings. So you send them a pic of the long line, and you explain that while this week you're pretty booked up, because let's say it's Friday, and let's hope you're booked for the weekend. This week you're completely booked up, and hopefully you're doing an open house. So you can say, oh, I got my own open houses. However, next week, if you want, you're willing to help them host a mega open house, no charge, no commitment. And by the way, if we find a buyer for that open house, it's your buyer. I don't want a piece of it. The curiosity of what a mega open house might look like, and then they see the lines. Let me just get a visual on who's hearing this and seeing this. Does that sound like something that might be very interesting to the seller? They see a line like this in an email or a text message or whatever, and then you say, hey, listen, I'm a little busy this weekend. And maybe you're busy taking your nephews or nieces or daughters or sons, or you're going to the Hamptons. It's okay. We can't see that, but we get the, yeah. Those are 3 pictures of lines. And so the reason I say you're a little busy is I don't want to just be the guy who's waiting, begging for scraps. I'm busy. I'm doing my business, right? So it's Friday. Hopefully I'm either busy with my personal life or my professional life. And I say, listen, while I'm busy this weekend, next week, if you want, I'll reach out to you Monday. Because guess what? Do I call them every Monday, right? Give me a yes or yes. I call them every Monday. And I'm sending them a picture of a long line. I tell them, hopefully, we have some open houses, so we're a little busy this weekend. But I'll reach out to you next week. I'll discuss. If you're interested, I'll help you host a mega open house. And there's no cost, no obligation, no responsibility on your part. In fact, if the mega open house generates a buyer for your house, it's your buyer. I don't even want a piece of it. You think they'd respond favorably to this? Yeah, I do too. So you're continuing with your smart plan. Wednesdays, you got your market snapshots. Now by week 3, you're a known entity. You're a known entity, and you're not a pain in the butt who's been calling them and ridiculing them. And believe me, agents will ridicule for sale by owners for trying to do it themselves, making them feel stupid for trying to sell it themselves. Every time you talk to them, you're wishing them good luck. You're wishing them the best. You're hoping that they get it sold, and I hope you do. Week 4. Ooh. Week 4, seller growing concern. Definitely more receptive to new strategies. He's still getting poor exposure and still not getting many showing. Now, look, let's face it. There are the for sale by owners that when you call them, they're like, yeah, no, we got 4 offers. We're good. That happens. Those are the 8 to 10 or 11%. Don't worry about those. 90% of them are these guys. Poor exposure, not many showings, maybe an agent still calling them. It's all right. You have had them on a smart plan. They've gotten 12 or so different communications from you, and they're all coming from contribution. In your Friday message, you send them pics of a long line again, and you explain to them that over the next few days while you're completely booked, and again, you know, use your words wisely. Our office is dealing with, you could just say our office is dealing with multiple offers on multiple properties. So I'm, you'll get a little crazy this next couple of days. However, during the week, if you want, I could stop by for a strategy session, see how we can suggest, getting the same thing for you. I wrote down here, you'll suggest that they list and you show them how the team, the market center, how our entire team is getting our sellers tens of thousands of dollars over asking in less than X amount of time. And then you go for the close. Week number 5. Seller is not seeing much action other than from a random agent. The house is now stale, basically. And their focus is on their life. A lot of times what happens is the for sale by owner, after a few weeks, most of the for sale owners that I talk to anyway, they're not even paying attention to their listing anymore. In fact, a lot of them, when I ask them, are you getting many showings? No, we're not really trying. They justify the lack of activity. Pedro, have you ever gotten this when you've got someone well into the process where they actually are like, nah, we're not really trying it. They've gone from muscles to, nah, we weren't really serious.
Yeah.
But like Jeff Glover said, for sale by owners sell their home for a reason. They want to get closer to the grandkids. They want to avoid having to walk up and down the stairs because they're older, whatever. It's not because of the money, unless there is that rare occasion when they just have to sell, they're forced to sell. You continue with your 3 times a week per touch smart plan and you show them results. Now you're turning up the volume a little bit on your promotion of who you are, of other homeowners just like them who've tried to sell. And, if you're in productivity coaching, you certainly can use our results because you're an extended team of us, right? And so you can use our results. You can use the slide that I showed you, and you can create your own slide, a better slide. It's always best to show it from the MLS if you can do it, or from the internet, so it's not yours created on a Word document. And you offer to help by listing their home. You start asking for the listing. It's week number 5. They're ripe. They're ready to go. And then of course, week number 6. Now again, guys, just keep in mind, you may have to continue this smart plan. This may be the guy, there are a handful that I can remember. One guy in Princeton where guy loved me. I was, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And, look, I'm coaching one also in Montville, loved me. Helped them do an open house in Montville. And then they sold the house. All right. She promised a good review on Zillow anyway, which is good to get a review like that, to have a review. And that whole review thing is no longer important to me on Zillow. But this is the track of a typical FSBO. The question is, 2 questions. Can you play the follow-up game? And are you saying the right things? If you're not incredibly ADD like me, you can probably play the follow-up game. So all it really comes down to is just learning what to say, when to say it, how to say it. Right? Questions before we move on. And before you ask the question, whoever it is, I'm going to ask that people come on screen. It's just there's just much more energy when there's more people on screen. If it's possible, at all possible, please come on screen. Go ahead. Who had a question?
Yeah, Eric, what happens in week 3 when you offer no commission, and what if they agree to it?
What am I offering no commission on? Hosting an open house, correct?
Right.
Right. So I'm hosting an open house. I'm not looking for the deal. Look, here's the reality. I don't know if it's 7 or 12 or 3%, but there's a very, 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 very a slight chance that they'll actually sell through the open house. So I'm not worried about that. Okay, that's the first thing. Gotta understand, this business, forget everything else. This business is all mindset. If I have the right mindset, I do the right things and I say the right things. So I don't have to worry about it. Statistically, they're not going to sell to the open house, even if they have a long line. I can tell you that the sale of Andrew and my listing in Wayne, that Andrew secured by cold calling the neighborhood, easy peasy lemon squeezy. That deal, $633,000 buyer, didn't come from the open house. They didn't even attend the open house. But we had 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, of long lines. If I, Manel, if you're doing a for sale by owner, I said, Manel, I know it's week number 4. Have you had open houses? Yeah, and it's really nervous, it's scary. I mean, forget it if you're a single woman. You know, you have to have big shoes and, football pads on to feel brave enough to bring strangers into your house today. Forget COVID. I'm not even talking about COVID. But Manella, I know you've been trying this along, and I know you're confident and you're determined to sell yourself, and I hope you do. Can I make a suggestion? We have what we call a mega open house. It's COVID compliant mega open house. COVID compliant, it's just a term. COVID compliant and safe mega open house. Kind of looks like this. Oh my God. Oh. A couple things might happen. I don't want that many people. No, one family at a time. We got a doorman registering people in. We have one person giving the tour. Everyone wears booties, gloves. I mean, this is kind of sidebar COVID talk, right? But at the end of the day, Manel, I am going to help you by doing a mega open house. I'm going to put out half a dozen signs with balloons, not just the one that you have on the corner and one here. I'm going to put out half a dozen signs. I'm even going to go ahead and boost it on a post, social media, all over. I'm going to do as much marketing as I possibly can. I'll even prospect and I'll cold call tons of people to get them to come to the open house. And you should, and you will, hopefully. And we're going to register everybody. They're your buyers. It's your list. If one of those buyers buys, I get nothing. If you should decide you want a little help, we have a program where if you need certain help, we can work out a small fee for that, in lieu of having a higher attorney's fee. We won't get into the minutia of that right now. It's not going to happen. And I guess the question I have for you is, and if I'm over the phone and they don't see me, I still make these weird faces, by the way. It helps me in my tone of voice. So I say, you're not planning on getting your real estate license, are you? So I say it like that because they're not. And I just want it to go smooth. No, why? I'm moving to Virginia. Okay, no, and most people aren't, but I just ask because at the end of that open house, you might have a list of 7, 10, 20 people who came to the open house. And once you've determined none of those buyers are your buyer, you have no use for that list, right? No, it's garbage. I would like, since I help you with the open house, all I'd ask is that you give me the list once you're done with it. Truth is, I'm going to have a copy of the list. But the reality is they're buyers. I'm not gonna, it's not a bait and switch or anything like that. I'm letting them, if the buyer comes and they buy, you know what? God is good. He'll take care of me later somewhere else. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. And guess what? Then you could ask, I think it's Google who you want to set up your Google account so you can get Google reviews. Thank you for coming on, Andrew. And so you'll get the review because you're going to ask them for the review. Hey, you call them up next day. Hey, guess what? One of those buyers, they're buying. Congratulations, good for you. That's fine. Great. I'll stay in contact with them. And I'm going to, at some point, long before the closing, I'm going to say, hey, look, would you do me a favor? They're going to love you at this point. Would you be okay with giving me a good review going on to Yelp or Zillow or whatever, whatever it is, not Zillow, but would you give me a review that I can send me an email or do whatever, and either you post a review for them or get them a link where they could post it on Google. You want to build up your online reviews. But you're also going to get that list, Manel. That list could turn into 1 or 2 buyers, or potentially some of the people coming by. A lot of the open houses are attended by neighbors because they're thinking of selling next year, and they want to see what this house is like. They're starting to gather data. People who are going to sell in 2022 are already know they're going to sell for the most part, with the exception of the last minute promotion or job transfer. You're selling. So that's the value of the list. Make sense? Or the value.
I had a question. So when I tried my first, I'm just a new agent. When I tried my first call for, for sale by owner, they said they already have somebody in the family that if they decide to go that route, they're probably going to just work with them. And, they're not going to shift from that, family member. So how do you try to convince them or tell them to be open to considering another agent who might not be a family member?
That makes sense. A lot of people I speak to, let's face it, Nancy, almost everyone knows someone who's a realtor, whether it's a neighbor,
Right.
their accountant, or their dog walker who has a real estate license, or maybe it's a nephew, niece, or cousin or brother. And I guess the question I have is, who's the realtor in your family? Just role play with me. Make it up.
Okay.
Make up the answers.
So my first cousin sister, she's a realtor.
First cousin sister. Okay. She's a realtor. Do you know if that first cousin sister is a full-time realtor who supports their family, or is it just someone who has a license? And they're
Actually not sure. I'm actually not sure. I just know that she's been doing it for years.
Okay, she'll be doing it for years. And I guess the question I have is that the only criteria for hiring an agent, that they're your relative? Or if you knew absolutely for certain that that your relative would actually cost you money, and by hiring a non-relative, I'm not going to even say maybe, I could say, well, like a powerful agent like myself would actually net you significantly more money.
Okay.
Would you be open to an exploratory conversation just to see what we could do differently?
Maybe, sure.
All I ask for is a maybe. Doesn't sound like you're ready to list anyway. And
Right.
so why don't we do this? Why don't I go ahead and email you my for sale by owner seller success playbook? I say that slowly.
Okay.
And the playbook really is going to share with you exactly what we're doing to sell homes. And who knows, maybe you could pick a few plays out of our playbook, apply it to selling it on your own, and you don't have to call your cousin, or you don't even have to call an agent. What's the best email? Boom, 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 boom.
Okay. And like for a new agent like me, I don't have a seller's playbook, a success playbook. So
you use mine. You use my playbook.
Okay.
We give you the playbook, and then we'll give it to you in Word format, and then you're gonna take off my name and put your name up top, and yeah, mine is yours. Don't worry about it. You just ask Joe for it. 100%.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
All right, let me find the script, because Joe's telling me I'm over time on Q&A, and it's time to go to the scripts, and we're kind of in the scripts anyway, Joe. Not in the grips, but in the scripts. Let's see. Here, FSBO. Let me see if this downloads. I don't know what I'm doing. Let's save it. Give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen. Let's do it this way. I'm trying to move this an inch or two. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. You see my screen, right? Give me a yes. Someone say yes. Okay.
Yep.
Is the FSBO in here? No, no FSBOs. All right, I have it. Give me a second. Okay. You think I know how to navigate a computer, but I don't. Oh, try that again. Yeah, Joe, I think you sent me this. You sent me the same thing that I just downloaded off my own. So I'm going to read the script while Joe figures it out for me. What you put in the chat, okay. Let's try that.
Caitlin's very handy. She's always there. She's helping me out all the time. She just sent it to you. Open that up.
Send it to me where? In this
It's in the chat. Yeah, I just
Yeah, it's right in the
put
chat.
it in there.
Okay, and this is the script. Oh. FSBO script. All right, here we go now. No one wants to tell a joke while I'm doing this?
That's usually Michael McNamara's cue. Michael Mack.
Busy making people money. This is not the script. All right, so this is not the script. No, not the script. All right, so the script is pretty simple. This is going to be recorded, so we can go over this. You can watch this later. And here's the reality. Jeff Glover is one of the agents that I look to emulate when it comes to scripts and dialogues. He's a master. And the script that I'm going to go over with you, you don't need this. The script that I'm going to go over with you is Jeff Glover's script, that 8-minute video. So what I would suggest is that you find the video. It's Jeff Glover FSBO. And it's an 8-minute video, right? We just watched it. Play it, handwrite the script out. Stop it after the first sentence, handwrite it out. Press play, write a few words, and go back and forth until you've handwritten the script. And Jeff Glover will tell you, and many other coaches will tell you that in order to learn to internalize and embed this script in the fiber of your system, so it becomes a natural and you know, we have a do they call you sensei? Pedro?
Sifu.
Huh?
Sensei is Japanese. Sifu is Chinese. I do the Chinese.
Sifu.
Okay, so he's Sifu, which in my language is sensei, and that just means teacher, right?
Correct.
Right. So all of the teachers will tell you, in order to get really, really, really good at something, you need to practice it. repetition is the mother of skill. Right, Sifu?
That's correct.
Right. And so in order to get really, and you want to get really, if you're going to do this, and here's the reality. If you do FSBOs for 30 minutes a day, 3 or 4 days a week, you're going to start listing 1 or 2 FSBOs a month. It's just going to start to come. And you're going to get really good at it. I don't think she's on here, but Aida, our launch coach, Aida, I don't know the number, but it's some insane amount of FSBOs. When I heard she listed in like 2017, I don't know what year, like 42 FSBOs. That's almost 1 a week. In fact, that's 1 a week because I only work about 42 weeks out of the year. 1 a week. 1 a week. Oh, you did? Look at that. Jeff Weber. So that's that. So let's go over the script. How do I get over there? Chat box. Chat box. First or second one is the one I want.
Second one.
Okay. Sorry for the you're hanging with me. There's bound to be some technical difficulties. Oh, strange. All right, so are we just going to keep moving forward? All right, so give me a second. All right, so here's the script. Who wants to be my seller?
Be the seller.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
Yeah. Well, what can I do for you, buddy?
Yeah, hey, I'm calling all the for sale by owners in my market because we know that most for sale by owners, if they can't sell on their own, will hire an agent. So I was just curious, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own?
Oh, we're going to sell it on our own.
Okay, totally understand. I can appreciate that. And since most for sale by owners do give it between 4 to 5 weeks before they hire an agent, how long will you try it on your own before you hire an agent?
Well, we'll hold on, as long as it takes.
Okay, as long as it takes. I completely understand. You sound determined to sell it on your own, and I hope you do. So tell me, when you do sell it, where do you plan on going next?
Oh, we have another house down the shore in Lavallette, New Jersey. So after we sell this, we'll be moving down to our second home and make that our permanent home.
Oh, good for you. How long have you had that house?
The house in Lavallette, wow, that goes back to when my kids were little, maybe 20 years now.
Okay. All right. So 20 years now. Good for you. So you guys, you can make that year round. So you've had the home on the market for how long now?
It's been 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Okay, good for you. And how's it been going? Is there a lot of showings? Any offers on the property?
I got a lot of phone calls from realtors.
Yeah.
You guys are amazing. I get phone calls every day, but nobody ever brings anybody.
Oh, are you cooperating with buyers who bring an agent? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, we'll give them 2% if they bring a buyer.
Okay, so let me just make the note of that. So you're going to go ahead and give 2%. Good for you. Why did you decide to sell it on your own rather than hire an agent?
The commission.
Commission. That makes sense. So you just want to save the commission, but you're already committed to paying 2%. So it sounds like you're only looking to save the other 4%, correct?
Well, wow. Yeah. 4%. That's a lot.
Okay, but that's what you're looking to save, the other portion of the commission.
Right.
Okay. So in other words, if we have a buyer, you're open to allowing me to show it. If my buyer wants to, you'll pay me 2%.
Yeah, by appointment only. You have to call me, make an appointment with me, and then I'll let you, bring somebody in.
That makes sense. May I make a suggestion?
Yeah, sure.
I'd like to do 2 things. Since you're already cooperating with us to bring a buyer, I'd like to 3 to 5 minutes while I'm in the area and stop in, take a look at the home, get a real good idea of what the home's flow is. Again, I may or may not have a buyer right now. And when I do have the perfect buyer for your home, I want to know exactly what your home has in it. I mean, you do want me to let my buyers know about your house, correct?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, you can make an appointment, you can bring your buyer in.
Perfect. Well, I'd like to come by and take a quick look at the house. Is it better to do that today at 3 or is tomorrow at 11:30 better?
No, I'm busy today, but what'd you say, at 11 tomorrow?
11 o'clock.
Right, that's Saturday. Yeah, that'll be fine. It's just going to be you, right? You're not bringing anybody else?
Right. I'm not bringing any buyers. And just so you understand the purpose, I like to be absolutely purposeful. The purpose of the visit is within 5 minutes or so to do the nickel tour. Let me get the flow of the house. Let me make sure it's exactly what I think it is, take some notes, and then I'll be able to go back to my clients. Great. I'm going to go ahead and do that. And look, I'm sorry, I'm rude. My name's Eric. What's your name?
Mike.
Mike, while I'm there, since I'm going to be there, I'll share with you our 14-point action plan. And who knows, I'll leave that with you. It's my gift to you. Who knows, maybe you can pull a few plays out of my playbook and apply it to what you're doing, and it'll help you be more successful in getting it sold on your own. And look, our meeting will only take anywhere from 5 to 6, 7 minutes. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Fair enough?
Okay, sounds good. What was your name again?
Evan. All right, so what did I do? It's week 1, week 2. For the first 2 weeks, all I'm looking for is to get in, meet Mike, and I want to find out what Mike's all about. And I can only do that by figuring out how he can let me into his world. And all of the other agents, most 99.9% of the other agents are they're just coming from a different angle. They're telling them that it's the tone of voice makes the seller feel like he made a big mistake trying to sell, but I'm not. I just want to stop by. I want to cooperate. I want to help them. I'm going to bring value added things to help them, which is a six sellers a playbook, a seller's success playbook, and that's week number 1. And week number 2 and week number 3, the conversation is more of a coming from contribution.
Real quick, Eric, I did just put in the for sale by owners playbook. I will find the Word document and send it out to everybody. That's a PDF. I'll find the Word doc. We'll get it out to you. No problem. I'll send it to everybody.
Now, I'd like to find more to say about it, but it's really that simple. And then the question then becomes, well, then how do we convert the for sale by owner? Look, your goal at this point is to develop rapport with that for sale by owner. And as you develop rapport, don't be pushy, don't be condescending, don't be salesy. You don't have to be salesy. And at the same time, you want to let them know your intention. So I want to just kind of break down my interpretation of Jeff Glover's script here. I'm calling all the for sale by owners in my market because we know that most for sale by owners, if they can't sell it on their own, will hire an agent. And I was curious, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own? Most agents will say, hey, I'm calling. I saw you had your home on the market. Why'd you decide to sell it yourself rather than list with an agent? Boom. Right there that says, like, why you like I don't want to say certain words. I only know certain words. My vocabulary is very limited, so I don't want to call people jerks and that. But that the tone of voice is like, like, why are you stupid? or they're saying, hey, yeah, good. Are you cooperating with the agents? Right out of the gate, are you cooperating with the agents to bring a buyer? Yeah, we'll give 2%. Okay, I'd like to come by and see the house. I might have to see if it's good. They're saying the same things I'm eventually saying. But what's happening is, oh, here's the other thing. They say, hey, I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner? It is? Oh, great. It's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. And that's a lie by deception. That's a bait and switch. And already, right out of the gate, I'm being a little sneaky because, again, the for sale by owner puts their home on the market in the hopes they sell it themselves. They're going to answer the phone. The reason why I asked Pedro, I know for a fact he's been in many homes, and the reason he's able to get into 3 homes a week is because they're selling their home. They need someone like Pedro to come in. And Pedro's a nice guy. He's got a lot of energy. Sounds like he has buyers. I better let him into my house. I'm just not listing my home. But I'll give Pedro 2% or even 2.5%. So Pedro's getting in homes. The challenge is you don't want to, like, just that whole, hey, calling out the home for sale, is this the owner? Yes, it is. Oh, great, it's Eric. What happens is they hear somebody calling about their home, they get up, they get high, and then you tell them you're an agent, boom, it's like a punch in the gut. So what the script does is completely different. Hey, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. I was calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner? Yes. They already know you're an agent. They have a choice to say, no, wrong, not, they might blow you off, right? Which is okay. But they know, hey, Evan, that sushi looks good. Okay, good. I didn't know he knew he was on camera. They know that you're an agent. And what I call that is an invisible handshake. It's a subtle solidifier of that rapport building process that has to happen. It's a process. It doesn't happen like that unless you're Tony Robbins. And so I've told them the truth. I told them who I was, and I told them why I was calling. I'm calling because we know most for sale by owners, if they can't sell it on their own, will hire an agent. I'm just curious, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own? And they're like, it may not be the answer you think that you want. They're still strong and cocky and feel like they're going to get it done. That's fine. That's completely fine. It's part of the script. We've scripted it in there. They're going to say that to you. Perfectly all right. But what's happening in the background is the relationship is an honest one. The foundation of the relationship is based on honesty. Because I told you in advance, unsolicited, I didn't bait and switch you, get you to tell me who you were before I told you who I was. I was honest. Does that make sense? Yes or yes? All right. And then when they give you the objection, agree with them. It'll confuse them. They're expecting you to fight with them because the other 6 or 10 agents have. Makes sense. I'm going to sell it on my own. No, I can appreciate that. And you ignore it at first. And since most for sale owners do give it between 4 to 6 months, how long will you? Nah, we're going to hold out. Oh, you're going to hold out. Look, you sound determined and confident, and I hope you do. They're not used to hearing, I hope you do, from an agent. So you're, again, another little handshake, and now we're going to level shift. I hope you do. And tell me, so when you do sell it, are you guys staying local or are you moving out of state, getting rid of these New Jersey taxes? Wherever they say. Talk about that. Now I've level shifted, gotten away from me trying to figure out, can I get into this house, to just having a human conversation and going 3 layers deep. 3 layers deep means, hey, we're moving to Florida. Oh, really? Florida? What part of Florida? West Coast. Oh, Naples. Yeah, around there, Sarasota. All right. You play golf? No, my sister lives down there. Her health's not great. We want to be closer to her. Okay. Now, if there's reason, right? If I can get to the reason of all that, that's far more important than 2.5% commission. Not to mention the fact that I'm going to later prove to them, I'm not yet getting into it. If I can sell your home, even make you more money, even by paying a full commission, would you think about I'm not even going there right now. It's one human being to another. I'm having Jen is the newest agent that I can think of on the screen. I'm going to just ask silly questions, and you can take yourself off mute for a second. Have you ever had just a strike up a conversation with a stranger?
Yeah.
Of course.
You know, even if it's on another job where they're a stranger and you're, whatever it is. I mean, you've had we're all human beings. So just act like a human being. There's no reason not to just have a normal, people have conversations. So I want to have a conversation. I often tell agents when you're speaking to people, don't be nervous. Just talk to them like they're your friend or your family member. Just act as if they're your friend or family member. That's one way to kind of get rid of some of the nerves. And then the rest of this script is strategic, right, in nature. Are you cooperating with agents who bring a buyer? Yeah, I'll give you 2%. Oh, good, 2%. That's great. So what I hear you saying is, and I'm just getting clarity, and I'm going to layer in just a little. So what you're telling me is all you're really trying to save is the other 3%. Yep. Okay. Fair enough. And then I drop down to, may I make a suggestion? Most people, like the vast majority of people, will say yes. Since you're cooperating with agents and willing to pay 2.5% commission, I'd love to stop by for 5 minutes and get a quick tour. And just so you know, I don't know if I have a buyer perfect for your home. I don't want to tell you I do. In fact, for this conversation, let's just say for discussion's sake, I don't. But because we're the most productive office in the marketplace, and we list and sell over 100 homes a month, if I don't have one today, I might want to have one tomorrow or Monday or whatever. So I'd like to take 5 minutes. And just to be clear, I'm not coming to list your home. I won't bring paperwork. In fact, if you're okay with me doing so, I'll leave my car running your driveway. That's how quick I'll be in and out. I just want to see the house. Yeah. And I go through the rest of the script. So here's what I'm going to leave you up with just for 3 minutes. So even though we started 8 minutes, it's going to take me 5 minutes to close out this call. Because if you haven't noticed, I talk a lot. So here's the deal. If you think, let me just show you one other thing.
Also, Eric, as an agent, when you're talking to a for sale by owner, you want to remind them that you're a professional and that you make it a point to see every home that comes on the market, whether it's listed for sale by owner or with another agent. You make it your job to see the home on the market.
Which screen do you guys see?
Zillow, 960.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So this is Evan's new listing. A FSBO. And interestingly enough, they listed it in October at 949. Now, normally I wouldn't go up. Normally I make a point. In fact, listings launching today in Pompton Lakes for 342,880. And, I told them, 348 to 398 or something like that. And when he said, listen, whatever, you're the professional, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. Well, I'm going to go a couple dollars less because I believe that's going to better serve him if I go a little bit lower. So I always look to go lower to get the better results for the client. But this one I believe is going to sell at $1 million. And interestingly enough, they couldn't get the activity at 949. So we'll see how this plays out, because this has only been on the market for, 4 days, and showings don't start until 2 days. We've had it on the market for 2 days. We've already had 1,000 views, according to Zillow. I don't believe anything Zillow says. That's a whole different conversation. And they've had 31 saves, right? And this is a great house. Okay, I just wanted to show you that. This is the deal if you're willing to go after FSBOs. Now, if you're going to go after FSBOs, I would highly recommend, you can do anything you want. I highly recommend you use this script, not Mike Ferry's script. And Mike Ferry was my first coach. And I still love and respect the Mike Ferry system. I'm a Mike Ferry agent, right? That's kind of like what we say. All my mentors, all the people I look up to are Mike Ferry agents. So this script, okay? And I would do what Jeff Glover says to do, Mike Ferry agent. Handwrite this script every day for 30 days. If you're struggling with FSBOs, or if you're not using them, if you're not, Nancy, am I saying your name right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Nancy said, well, I don't know what that, how do you handle? Take the script, write it out for 30 days, once a day.
30 days. Okay.
10 minutes. And it's a worthwhile investment in yourself since you're in this business. And if you're going to go at this business, even if you're going part-time, 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, if this is something, this lead source is something you feel you want to go after, why wouldn't you want to just be absolutely proficient, efficient, effective at it? So in order to do that, in order to do that, you handwrite the script 30 days, once a day for 30 days. You chant the script 6 times before you get on the phones, before you go to bed. Either one, when you first get up, before you go to bed, because when you go to sleep, your subconscious is processing things, right? You could even record this. There's an app called the Think Up app. Think Up app. I'm sure there's other apps. This is a meditation and affirmation app that I use. And I record my voice. So I can literally, if I want, record the script. It's not meant for this, but I just thought about it. You record, and then I do is I set the timer for 15 minutes. And then I play, it plays back, and it's my voice giving me affirmations. Eric, you are beautiful. Eric, you are handsome. Eric, you're 6'1". Oh no, I'm not. 5'11", 5'10". So, and what happens is if you play that when you're going to sleep, I know it sounds corny and like, dude, relax. I just want to sell houses. But if you really want to get good at this, you might even want to be a little crazy about it. Get the Think Up app, record the script, your voice, and then play it as you're going to sleep. Because what happens is you're going to fall asleep, and if it's playing 10 minutes into your actual first realm, what do they call it, REM, the sleep, your brain's processing it, believe it or not. All right. But if you're not that crazy, you just want to write it out once a day for 30 days. Chant it 6 times a day. How hard is it to chant? It's like this. Oh, and I'm standing up. Isn't it crazy? I'm a creature of habit. I stand up when I prospect, and I stand up when I role play. I role play as intense as I do when I prospect. If you know sports, I'm not a real sports guy, but in football, guys, Joe, are you still here? Guys, he's eating sushi. My sushi's getting warm. Guys get hurt in practice. Football players get hurt in practice. They're practicing. They're not playing, flag football or touch football. They go for it. So I stand up. Here's how it chants. I'm only going to chant the first 2 or 3 sentences. Hi, this is Eric with Keller Williams Realty, ... I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner? I'm calling all the for sale by owners in my market because we know most for sale by owners, if they can't sell on their own, will hire an agent. The reason why I go most for sale by owners, if they can't sell on their own, will hire an agent. I'm overemphasizing those 3 words because I'm training my brain to emphasize those words later. Those are the words that I want to accent. Those are the words that I want to make sure that I emphasize. Most, if, will. It's a form of neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. So, and I was wondering, what are your plans if you can't sell it on your own? Oh, totally understand. I can appreciate that, ... And so what I'm doing is it takes me 60, 90 seconds to go through the script. And I'm going to chant it with the dots, because the dots are going to train my brains, because I'm not going to say dot, dot, dot while I'm on the phone. But if I've engraved it into my brain, eventually what's going to happen is when I'm on the phone with Pedro and I say, hey, Pedro, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. Calling all the for sale by owners in my market because, and the brain will know to slow down and pause. And those are very important. You know, those are very important nuances of when you've heard me say, you know, you got to know what to say. That's right here. Look, reading the script is easy. Philip Seymour Hoffman's one of my top 3 actors. Was one of my top 3 actors. I was talking at dinner last night with a bunch of guys, and we were talking about actors. And there's some actors out there who I feel like they just got lucky in the right place, right time. Philip Seymour Hoffman is an actor, right? And yet, if you download one of his movies and get his sides, that's what the scripts are called in the industry, his sides, you could sit there and read the sides, and I could even read the sides. And eventually, if I want to really memorize the sides, but you want to embed these into your brain so that eventually you don't need them. And I can say, hey, Pedro, or I can say, hey, it's Eric Melnikoff, Keller Williams Realty. I'm calling about the home for sales as the owner. And I know the script, but it's not only knowing what to say, it's knowing how to say it and when to say certain things. That's grad school. And the good news is that to get out of elementary school and to get into to primary school and high school, and this is like 3 months, 2 months. If you write it out every day for 30 days, if you really want to go crazy, do it for 66 days, even on weekends. Chant it every day, 6 times a day, and then find a role play partner and role play it. I'd say every day, right? Because what's going to happen after 30 or 40 days, after 66 days, if you do what I just told you to do, you'll know the script inside and out. And obviously you want to start making those calls right away. It's okay to get hung up on. It's okay to be cursed out. You're not going to break. Your arms aren't going to fall off. You're not a flower. You won't wilt over, and it's okay. In fact, you might even, what is it? What doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So you'll just be more confident in a month from now, in 2 months from now, when you're ready to go and you know the script. Any last minute burning desires before I go eat my sushi? I hope we brought you a good class today, guys. Thanks a lot for showing up. Take care.
Thank